So this is proof that you can change your life within 3 months freelancing on Fiverr. And I'm telling you this story because like when I was starting out, I never expected that you can make this amount of money, especially freelancing on such platform like Fiverr, because a lot of people believe that it's a platform for cheap services. And little did I knew it was completely wrong. As you can see here, I started out in March 2020. And by May 2020, I was already close to the $10,000 a month mark, and it was just like this. You know what I'm saying? So as you can see, I ended up the year with around $83,000 in pure profit. This is pure profit, by the way. And yeah, so after this video, you will pretty much know the reason why most people fail making money freelancing, especially on platforms like Fiverr. Also, why Fiverr is the best choice for beginners, how I made $10,000 a month profit in the first 3 months, and the secret to success, how it also changed my life as well because of the lifestyle, because as you start making money, your lifestyle changes, and it's completely life changes, mind blown. Like, even if I look back 5 years ago, I'm just like completely mind blown of the radical change it took in my life. And of course, how can it change your life as well? So I'm going to tell you a little bit of my background and where I come from, because I don't come from any special place. I'm from Mexico. I'm from this little town called Tampico. It's actually South Texas, so Spanish is my first language. As you can see, hablo español. English is not my first language, but yeah, I'm not anything special. You know what I'm saying? I come from Mexico. Opportunities are very scarce, so it's a very nice town, honestly. But of course, like when you come from a third world country, opportunities are very limited. So my upbringing. So my goal was basically the reason why I started like freelancing and everything was because my goal was to build successful e-commerce businesses. I was into drop shipping and everything. So I started that in 2017. So I was like very, very heavily into, because I see a lot of people on YouTube like making money and all that stuff. And I wanted to be one of these guys. However, it got to the point where I thought if it was actually real. But hold on with me, because I'm going to explain to you further on what happened. So being from a poor country, like opportunities are very scarce, because for example, I wanted to fund and start my e-commerce journey and drop shipping and whatnot. But guess what? Like when you come from a third world country, payment processors are a pain in the ass. So you basically only have PayPal, or Stripe doesn't even exist. You know what I'm saying? So it was very difficult back in the day, because a lot of people don't understand that when you come from a first world country, you're very, very, very blessed. You know what I'm saying? It's very hard when you're from a third world country. Like these little things that you wouldn't expect becomes a pain in the ass. I was like, oh yeah, I'm just gonna launch my first winning product and just start my e-commerce businesses. No, it's not like that. They ask you for so many things, and it was like a headache. So I was just processing all through PayPal. It was not super efficient. So it was always, I never managed to make like a proper breakthrough. I wanted to travel the world. Nobody believed in me. Like my mom, my brother, like nobody actually could actually believe that I was gonna make money online, especially back in 2018, because that was not a thing back in the day. Actually, making money online back in the day was a luxury. Everybody was like, "Yeah, I'm making money online." I don't think that's a thing. So that's why I also dropped out of college, which cost me a lot of back and forth with my parents, because they were not allowing me to drop out, and it's not something I would encourage unless you have a clear path of what you want to do. You know what I'm saying? So because for me, it really changed my life. Like, look at this. Like, this is money. Like coming from a third world country where the average salary is around 200 to 400 bucks a month, depending on whether you're part time or full time. Like, this is life changing money, especially in a third world country. So that's a lot. That's a lot. Okay. So basically, oh, this is like my first winning product that I did in 2018. I was selling this drive save keychain. I don't know if I can zoom it in. Yeah, this was a winning product back in the day, and I was selling it through my brand. So I even got the logo as if I was the original producer. You know what I'm saying? That was back in 2018. I managed to make like somewhere around 15K in revenue, and somehow I got like 3K per se, maybe in profit. So that was like semi-successful. I got a taste of online money, but that was not a breakthrough. You know what I'm saying? Like it took me like around 3 months to make 15 grand, and making that like 10 grand in just 1 month, it's like mind blowing. It's so this was my first taste of success. And the reason why I started freelancer was because all my profits, my little profits from my past earnings were gone due to the family situations. When you come from a third world country, like life is hard. Like you just can't go and work at the McDonald's and everything, because opportunities are very limited. That's what I was trying to tell you. Opportunities are limited when you come from a third world country. So if you're born in the US, you can just go work at a McDonald's and get like a proper living. There's this guy, I think it was I was looking back in the day, Sebastian George or something like that. He was working at the McDonald's when he launched his e-commerce business, and he can fund it because he has money from his McDonald's job. In Mexico that doesn't work like that. If I wanted to work, like part time, that would be a 200 bucks without a college degree, of course. 200 bucks a month, and if it was full time, 8 hours a day, 400 bucks a month. The math doesn't even add up. So that you can run into that money in ads like in just a couple of days. So it was like basically an impossible situation, so I needed a way to actually get out of that situation. So that's why I needed an income source without spending any money. That's very important, because when you're actually starting out with e-commerce and everything, you're always stressed, because back in the day there was no TikTok organic and whatnot. Like, you had to spend money on ads if you want to your product to be seen. So that was a headache, because when you're working with a very little budget, every single money you spend, like, it hurts a lot. So it doesn't allow you to test freely and all that stuff. So that's why I started freelancing. I didn't want to work a 9 to 5 job, and I always thought it was possible. Like, for some reason, I saw all these people making that online, and I was like, yeah, I think it's possible. You know what I'm saying? And also, I didn't want to go to college. So for me, the 9 to 5 or college, it was not a thing, because I didn't want to end up just with a 9 to 5, especially in a place like Mexico. Like, bro, like, you don't earn that much money. Like, the average salary from the top school is around 700 to a thousand bucks a month if you're good, you know. So it was not a good situation. And yes, of course, the cost of living is less, but it's not a good life. I'm telling you. After this, you can live a very good life. So yeah, so let's go up into what happens. So the very first thing that happened was that I was starting offering a service that I was on demand. I didn't knew about it, because I didn't knew I was offering a service on demand. I just wanted to sell something based on my expertise. What was my expertise? E-commerce. I thought I was good at e-commerce. So I was like, okay, let me start offering e-commerce services. So I was selling something people were already buying from other people, which I didn't know, but it was on demand. So I was selling better than the competition. This is very important. Why I'm saying like better than the competition, because if you go here, let's say to web design, here you have like a lot of people here that it's like, for example, there's 120,000 results. So how did I manage to stand out? It's very easy, because your competition is whack. They're not good whatsoever. You know what I'm saying? So your only objective is selling better than the competition. Of course, it goes a little bit more beyond that, just selling better than competition. But in a nutshell, is that. So for example, this person, let's just grab like a couple persons. So for example, this person has a 45 orders in queue, when otherwise, if you go, let's go back. Let's look for this guy. Let's see how many they have in queue. Okay, so this guy, he only has one owner in queue. So there's a big difference in between the amount of money they're making. So this guy, you can make the math, and this guy, you can make the math as well. So this just has one order in queue. So the main reason, and especially when you have no orders whatsoever, that makes a difference, because I was very good at selling. I was very good at selling, and I always recommend like start selling something, learn about sales, because sales is everything. You use it for everything in life. Because for example, I was not only selling my services well, I was selling everything. I was actually very successful selling this product. The problem here was that I wasn't achieving as many eyeballs, because I wasn't expending more, but my conversion rate was very high when selling this product. So I knew I was into something. And on top of that, I was selling the idea to my parents that I was gonna drop out of college, that I was gonna become successful. So it's all about selling. And I didn't realize until I became very successful, because as soon as I got my first prospect, my first real potential client, I closed it right off the bat. So that's the name of the game. A lot of people don't know how to sell, and you miss a lot of opportunities, because you're here on Fiverr, and you get a lot of prospects and you don't close them. Why? Because you're not good at selling. You need to be very good at selling, and it's very, very, very easy to actually sell your services once you know. But the most important thing is selecting a service that it's on actual demand. It's very easy. You can just go ahead on Fiverr here and just type, just click on anything, and you can see how much money they're making. Digital marketing. Let's go to SEO. Let's go to SEO. Let's see what are the top people making. The only thing you have to pretty much make sure is that there's money in there. So for example, you can see here this person like has 813 orders completed. This has over 1,000 completed. So that these people are making money. So it's very easy, like, to understand whether if there's money on Fiverr or not. You just need to check if these people are making money or have done any work whatsoever. So for example, this guy, let's see. Let's say this guy had like 3,000 reviews, and the guy is selling his services for around 200 bucks. So there's money to be made. You feel me? So you can just go ahead and review all these persons, all these people, all these services, and you just have to pick one. And you don't have to be even good at it. Like, you don't even have to be good at it, but you have to offer something that it's on demand. That's something very important, because you don't have to be good at it. You can always sell it and then hire someone else to deliver the service for you. You keep the difference. You just keep the difference. Like if you're selling your service for 500 bucks and then you just like hire someone for 100 bucks, you get the difference. You know what I'm saying? It's very simple math, but you shouldn't be stressing about like, oh, but I don't know if I can do website design. I don't know if I can do social media marketing. It doesn't matter. Just pick something that it's on demand and just focus on selling. Sell it, sell it. Once you start getting clients, you will start like saying like, okay, how can I deliver my service? But that's a good problem to have. In the meantime, if you don't have any money in your pocket, like it really doesn't matter. A lot of people just waste a lot of time trying to get good in expert, like in whatever it is, in SEO and this and that, website design, e-commerce, whatever. You don't have to be an expert. You just have to be good at selling, and that's the only thing. And I'm telling you because I'm living proof that that's it. Like that's what I did. I was good at selling. Look here, 2021, my biggest month was here, right here. I made a shit ton of money right here because I was very good at selling. I just went ham. I was going ham because I understood what people liked, and I would just double down, making good offers, making good offers. So that makes a huge difference. Of course, I did had a decline because I was very bad at delivering my service, buyer satisfaction. I was very good at selling, very bad at delivering my service. Something I learned over time, but that really doesn't matter. That's something you learn, and you rather have first money in your pocket, and then you start becoming an expert and whatnot. And I didn't have AI back in the day. Now you have AI. You can just go ahead and chat GPT. Hey, how can I become an expert on X field? Oh, how can I just answer the questions my clients have? You always have to be put yourself in a position of authority, but that's how it works. So that's pretty much what I did. And then things that matter. The things that matter when you're trying to become successful here in a place like Fiverr or just freelancing is that you need to have a good offer. Because like just because you're offering a service that it's on demand, that doesn't mean that people are gonna purchase from you. You need to be offering something that the buyer's like, okay, why would I trust this guy? Why would I trust this guy if he has zero reviews? There's this guy who has like 1,000 reviews and a good reputation. Why would I pick him? Because you need to have a good offer. You need to convince them, and you also need to be clever. You know what I'm saying? Like for example, like they also want to support like small sellers. You can always use that to your advantage. Like, hey, I'm just starting out in Fiverr. I can deliver you a good job, and like there's no risk whatsoever because I don't get paid until you're happy. So don't worry, there's no risk with me. In fact, let me give you like a sweet deal, like a sweet discount. Let's say if you're charging 500 bucks, let's make it just this time only. I'm gonna charge you 50 bucks just for you to have like a proper review. You know what I'm saying? So you can do those type of ridiculous offers because you need momentum, you need clients, you need buyers. So you need to be good at selling. I mean, can you grasp what I'm trying to say to you? Like, can you understand like these little things do make a difference? And it's not only in freelancing. You can apply this principle pretty much anywhere, anytime, like in any sort of business, in any sort of interaction. It's all about selling. You know what I'm saying? So also you need to be like good at communication. You don't want to be robotic. A lot of people in Fiverr trying to be like super professional and they just trying to speak like super formal. You don't care. Like a lot of people just want to feel like they're actually like speaking to someone. Most people actually come from the top tier country. So you need to have like a proper English. Like mine is not the best. You know what I'm saying? But I'm good at just communicating. Terrible grammar. I'm talking about 5 years ago and everything, and I still managed to make a lot of sales. And most of your buyers will be from the U.S., Canada, the top tier countries. Let me show it to you. Here's my world domination. I have 58% of world domination. Look, here I got like Mexico at least 96 sales, but here like most of the sales come from the United States, over 1,700. And we have here Australia 129, and we have here the UK 200. We have the Canada with 200. So most people will come from the US, from the top tier countries. So they want to feel comfortable talking with someone who can actually speak their language properly, that you just don't feel robotic and everything. Like they feel very comfortable with that. I'm from Mexico, and they still felt comfortable because I was just trying to speak with them. I was trying to be like interacting with them, and that's the only thing you gotta do. You don't have to be like super robotic. Oh yes, sir, like super professional. They don't care. Just trying to just offer them something. Ask them questions. Like ask them like what they want to achieve. Like be clever at selling. Like just go ahead and Google Russell Brunson books. Like he's very good at creating irresistible offers. You need to learn selling. Like selling is everything. Like because people were asking me back in the day, this is like a funny thing. Like people were asking me back in the day when it was like 2020, like because they started to understand like in my family that I was making money, right? So they were asking me like, hey, how do you make money? Like can you teach me what you do? And I was like, I couldn't tell them that I was not good at at e-commerce by itself or just website design or all that stuff. I was just good at selling. You know what I'm saying? So the name of the game here is understanding how to sell your service and of course deliver good service, because the more service you get, like the better service you deliver, the happier the clients. Therefore, Fiverr understand when they're happy, so they will start pushing your gig towards the top pages, and that's how you start building momentum. But here's when I dropped because I wasn't delivering good service, and then I got up because again, the little people that were like reaching out to me, I was good at closing them. So that's why I started to spike up again. And then this is something I learned over time. So don't worry. Like that's what I didn't felt like very confident in teaching this because I didn't knew how I was successful. I thought I was Fiverr's favorite, which it was not the case. I just saw that I was blessed by the algorithm and all that stuff. I didn't understood. That's why I couldn't teach this, because it was until I started to get very successful and then become unsuccessful and then successful again when I started to understand, oh, this is why it works. You know what I'm saying? Because if I was always successful, like I would have teach this like 5 years ago, but I didn't know. I was like offering something. I will be pretty much teaching something that I wasn't completely sure that why it worked. You know what I'm saying? But now I know for a fact what works. You know what I'm saying? So this is pretty much it. What I'm telling you. And of course, like your competition is trash. Like your competition is trash. Your competition most the reason why I know my competition is trash because it was all the time clients were reaching out to me and telling me like, oh, I've reached out like another 10 people and yours is the best. Your pitch is the best. The way you speak is the best. What you offer is the best. You know what I'm saying? So I understood that my competition was very whack. Most people are not good at it. And that's completely like if you come from a first world country, if you're from Canada, if you're from Australia, if you're from the United States, you have a huge competitive advantage over someone from India, over someone from Pakistan, or someone from Mexico. I'm from Mexico, but you're not gonna beat me, right? But not just kidding. But you have a much better advantage. In fact, the only person who was like toe to toe against me was a girl from the US in my category. That was the only girl that was toe to toe to me. I still beat her, but she beat me afterwards and everything. But I believe that most people was going with her because not because of what I offered, but because she was from the United States. So there's a huge advantage. And the girl, her communication was very good as well. Like he was very good communicating. Like you can feel that you're just talking with someone. So props to her. And yeah, so and also there is enough piece of the pie for everyone because as I was getting a ton of orders, this girl was getting a ton of orders. And guess what? The other people, like in the first pages, were getting a ton of orders. So there's enough piece of the pie of everyone. So for everyone. So the only thing you have to do is to sell it better than competition. Sell it better. Sell it. There's buyers. You just have to close them. You just have to convince them. Because that same buyer that doesn't purchase from you, maybe it's not going to purchase from anybody because they don't trust anybody. Your only job is to convince them. Yeah, they might be interested. That doesn't mean they're going to purchase. You have to convince them that that service is the best. You know, so there's always piece of the pie for everybody because you can check again. You can just go ahead here and check, and you can check all the people that it's on web design and just check it over. Like it really doesn't take much time. Just go click all of them and see if they're making money or not. See if they have orders in queue. If they have orders in queue, there's money to be made. So there's money. You know, money can be made. So that's the thing that matter. That's pretty much the thing that matter when you're starting like freelancing, especially on Fiverr. I'm saying Fiverr because that's my main bread and butter. I'm very good at it. But it's freelancing at the end of the day. It's freelancing, and you don't have to be married to any sort of service. You need to serve, deliver something that it's on demand. It's supply and demand. It's obvious. Just because you're an expert in, drawing paintings or something, that doesn't mean that people want that. You know what I'm saying? You need to be selling something that people are looking for. You need to search for trends and everything. But also in Fiverr, which is very important, you need to be searching for what they're already purchasing. That's the most easy way. Like you can literally bootstrap your way up by just not copying, but emulating what other people are doing already. It's very simple. Like you can just check your funnel basically. Super easy. So your only job is to be the master of all details. You need to be an authority because when people reach out to you, you need to be an authority. You don't have to, you have to understand you're in the position where you know more than the customer. You know more than the buyer because the buyer wants to also like something they challenge me like, oh, but I want this. And I'm like, yo, you're reaching out to me because I'm the expert. So you need to put yourself in the position of authority and you have to convince them that what you have is the best. That's what you have to do. That's pretty much the name of the game. That's your job, to convince them. You don't have to be like, like, no, you have to be 100% certain that you are an authority. And how can you become an authority if you have no expertise? Well, you have ChatGPT. I didn't have ChatGPT, so I was very good at what I was selling. You know what I'm saying? But you have ChatGPT, you can just ask him anything and you can just become an expert because this is like basically you don't have to put your face out there. You don't have to record any sort of videos or anything. Like literally, it was just myself, some Wi-Fi, my phone, and my laptop. That's it. Nobody knew who I was. I never took a sales call. I didn't took a sales call for around 3 years. And I did it just because I wanted to improve my service, but it was not necessary. So first sell and then figure out how to deliver. This is a good problem to have. It doesn't matter if you have no clue, just sell it. Sell it and then you figure it out. You can extend the delivery. You can always cope with anything like, oh, something happened. Just sell and then figure it out later. Of course, it's always good to be learning as you go, on and on. But like, don't stress about it. Like, really, don't stress. I'm trying to emphasize this because like people don't understand what it takes to actually be successful, and it's very simple, but they don't understand. They open their Fiverr account, they open their Upwork account, they're trying to be freelancing, doing this and that, and like they don't understand. Like they're hoping like, maybe if I get a client, like, no, no, no. You have to understand what it takes to actually be successful, and I'm giving you exactly what it takes to be successful, because these are results. These are not like, these are not fake. These are results. This is what it is. You know what I'm saying? This is Fiverr. This is Fiverr, LTD, international stuff. Like this is like world domination. This is like the amount of people I've sold to, basically these countries. So this stuff, it's real. So the gold mine. This is why it's a gold mine. This is why I realized eventually like there was a gold mine, because it cost zero money to begin with. I never took a single sales call until like 3 years afterwards. You know what I'm saying? That was because I wanted to improve my services. So then it's all warmly. This is very important because when you're freelancing, like for example on Upwork, you have to be chasing clients. Most of the time you have to do all these proposals and everything. People come to you, which can be also like counterintuitive or whatever it is. Like it can be like, a little bit hard because you need to be waiting for them and not the other way around. But it's easier because they're already warm, so it's much easier to sell. It's more easier to close. Because otherwise everybody's just sending proposals. And Fiverr used to have like this thing where you can send proposals. I never got a sale from a proposal. Never got a sale from a proposal. Now, no, don't get me wrong. There's a lot of successful people on Upwork. Upwork is the biggest platform of freelancing, and I have a friend that's making good money on Upwork. But that's not my expertise, so I cannot teach you that. I can teach you this stuff. So also like English is not my first language. So if you're like from, I don't know, from the Netherlands and you don't speak English, or if you're from whatever you are, like you don't have to be an expert in English. As long as you have like enough understanding of how to speak and write, that's pretty much it. Like to write. And even you can ask ChatGPT. So you can get creative on that. Like I'm telling you, I didn't have ChatGPT. Um, so also like you also need a Wi-Fi and a laptop, and you can work anywhere, anytime at your own time. So it's like a beautiful thing. I was just sometimes like amazed that I was just waking up to my phone receiving like 3 orders that I was worth like maybe $500 or $700 just by sleeping. And I was like, oh, of course I have to deliver the service, but I close the clients without even closing them, because a lot of people just order you. Once you have momentum, they order from you because of your reputation. So it was just like, it was a beauty thing. Like, I mean, it's amazing. Like it sometimes happens, but like service, like web design was very, very hot in 2021. And I missed a lot of chances, but that's when I was getting like, I didn't have to convince mostly the people. People were just buying from me just because they wanted it. You know what I'm saying? And also like I didn't have like that many negative reviews and whatnot. I have very little though, but still like it was just a very good situation. It was like the business outgrew me for sure, and I was completely freelancing. Now I'm talking about when I'm talking about this, it's all 100% margins, 100% margins. I didn't have any team. It was just myself, which is the world full profits. You know what I'm saying? So you can do a lot of things with this amount of money. But for the record, I just lost it pretty much everything. So I'll explain in another video, because this this in August was the worst period of my life. And I'll explain that later on. But terrible. Um, yeah, so you can work anywhere, anytime. So it's pretty much a gold mine, and nobody knows how to Fiverr works. Everybody's just like his own Fiverr. Nobody knows how it works. Because like look at this, like there's 140,000 people like in the results. You can do anything. You can do WordPress. And there's a lot of people, so everybody's on Fiverr, right? 100,000 results. Very few people know how it works. Very few people. I'm telling you because of experience. Very few people know how it works. I know how it works. I've been studying this for the past 5 years every single day. It's crazy. So I know I have an authority, and I'm not the only one teaching it. I'm not even the one that's making the most money. There's guys making much more money than I do, and that they made much more money than I do. And it's also limited based on your industry, because if you're in an industry that has more, prospects, not prospects, but like if there's more demand, it's gonna purchase from you. For example, social media marketing might be in more demand than web design. So guess what? There's gonna be more money in social media marketing. So it really depends. You know what I'm saying? Copywriting could be a good one. So it really, you're also limited based on the amount of demand there is for your service. So 2021, I can say with confidence that was when most people were purchased. Like at least from my end, that's when most people, because I didn't even have to close them very hard. It was very, very simple. They were almost already closed. They were purchasing without me even like almost talking to them. So that was a very blessed time. But yeah, like it really doesn't matter. Like it's just a matter of finding which categories based on Fiverr is the one that has the most. So yeah, so let me show you what changed afterwards. So here is the first car I bought in 2021, which I already have. It's my Jetta. I bought it in 2021. It was like 10 grand in cash. I did it. It's my only car. I don't have any other car. I'm not into cars. Actually, when I bought this, I realized that I'm not into cars. And I was like, yeah, what would I buy a supercar if I don't even know how to change the oil and all that stuff? You know what I'm saying? So yeah, here I start traveling. I went to Roland Garros in Paris. I'm here with some friends in London playing croquet. I'm here with my friends in Bali having a good time in Sabaya. Here I am with my buddy Dan in, I think it's Lisbon, just hanging around. I'm here in Dubai, like all these lifestyle, cool lifestyle in Dubai. Here, pretending I was doing something important in Bali, like we have a very sick office, just flexing a little bit the bicep and whatnot. So yeah, I wasn't doing anything. Like the microphone, it was not even mine though. But I don't know. I thought I was doing something interesting here in my villa in Bali when I was with my private videographer, which today is my buddy. Shout out Pedro. And yeah, so here it is. Here's myself here in Rome. So I've been traveling all over the place. You know what I'm saying? Because Fiverr changed my life for real. Like right now, I'm in Bali. Here you have like I'm living with a bunch of entrepreneurs. We have here these whiteboard and everything because I live with entrepreneurs and I have multimillionaire friends. I travel all over the place. I have a very, very unique lifestyle, I can tell. And it was just because of this. You know what I'm saying? Of course, it was just not because I was successful, because how I use my money in order to position myself to be surrounded by these people and also like to travel and all that stuff. So it's very achievable, so it can definitely change your life if you actually apply what I said. And you might as well check my other videos, because in my other videos I do actually explain how to go more in depth regarding this. But yeah, if you always wonder what if you can travel the world, live a nice lifestyle, you can do it after $10,000 a month. Like life becomes very, very, I think a lot of people say this, that's when life becomes very good. You know what I'm saying? Because you can travel anywhere, you can go to the nicest restaurants, you can do pretty much anything you want. Of course, you cannot own perhaps like a yacht or just travel all the time in business class or private stuff, but you have a very, very, it's freedom. It's free for me. That's freedom numbers. That's freedom numbers. Maybe for you it's not. Right now I just want to earn more money, right? But like it's freedom. It's completely freedom. If you want to just work like a few hours a day and just travel all around the world, be in a nice villa and just chill in Bali, for example, go to work from a beach club and whatnot, it's very possible. I do this all the time, and sometimes I'm wondering, like, I don't need that much money even to begin with. You know what I'm saying? Like, I can just live a very, very good lifestyle. And of course, I always love to come back to my little hometown here in Mexico. Usually, I go for the holidays. I really miss my family, so yeah, that's pretty much it. But of course, I will never trade for all of these that I have. So this is proof. So I might as well just listen to it. Or if you don't listen to it, it's all good. I just want to share you that it's possible. And yeah, see you next time.